Tom, if we can start with you. Your focus tonight, obviously, is here. But beyond that, I'm sure, Croke Park on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to Croke Park on Sunday, and I'd like to see Mayo beating the Dubs, and it'd be great to see Mayo playing Donegal, because I have a nephew in the Donegal panel, so it'd be great for football if Mayo played Donegal, and it'd be great for everybody if Mayo bet Donegal then, So that's what I'd be looking forward to,
Reading newspapers during the week, listening to analysts, and particularly John Mahan this evening on Sport at 7 Extra, he is extremely confident that Mayo will beat Dublin on Sunday. Do you see it that way?
Well, John Mahan is confident no matter where he's at, but it's going to be very hard for Mayo to beat Dublin Sunday, I think, because Andy Morden is gone, and Dublin, won the All-Ireland last year. They haven't come to the bile yet. I think they're pacing themselves, and they've got a handy enough run in, so I think Mayo have their hands full to beat Donegal Sunday.
That's about Mayo. Tonight our focus is on Cavan. Turning the corner ever so slightly, maybe?
Yes, we're turning the corner. There's no question about it. At underage in Cavan, there's great work being done. Fantastic work. And I'd like to thank everyone that's working so hard to see. And I know tonight, we have some great stars here, some famous players, all-stars, All-Ireland winning captains and everything. But the guy on this, the guy that's training the under 12 and 14 team that never gets to the top table, they're the guys to be commended. And I think Dermot McCabe says that, he mentioned there about skill and all that. And if we can get the right guys in at the bottom, we'll get the results at the top. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I just like when I'm to thank Declan and Claire and Natasha for their great support to Cavan GAA over the last 12 years. And they're one of our sponsors, of course. And we have fantastic sponsors in Cavan. We've mentioned the supporters, the best supporters in the country are in Cavan. But I'd have to say that some of the best sponsors are also in Cavan, because no matter in the lean times, the sponsors have stuck with us, and that's great. And Lacuna J will have the thing on the road now, and in a few years' time, success will come.
And there's confidence there that that's not maybe that far away?
I think the confidence, we don't want to rush Garage, he's only a young lad yet, but lads like him, they're all in the young. But we have a few older lads too, and I think that we have the right management team in place now. We have a good setup at under 21, good setup at minor, and I honestly feel that if next 3 years is vital for Cavan, and the National League coming up, one of the toughest national leagues in the divisions we have ever been in, I'd say. And I think that's going to be a marker for the future, and I believe that we'll do well in that.
Brendan Keaney, former chairman, this is a very important night for you. It's your club, it's your local. Many people congratulate and they say well done to Martin McHugh, say well done to the Cavan team for 1997. But a lot of people forget to think that were it not for Brendan Keaney, Martin McHugh might not have been in Cavan in 1997.
Well, I suppose, Martin, there's a long story to that, I suppose more than I can tell tonight. But first of all, I met Martin McHugh. I heard that he was interested in going into team management. I met him myself on my own, and he said that while the Donegal job was coming up for grabs, that he wouldn't be interested in the Cavan team, but if he didn't get it, he would be. So fortunately for Cavan, he didn't get the job, and he contacted me about a week after that, and we interviewed him. We talked to him anyway. The interview was a very short one. The decision was, probably being honest about it, was already taken to give him the job. And look at, I suppose history speaks for itself. I suppose a lot of people talk about 97 and winning the Ulster Championship, but I think that he did more than that. He brought Cavan from Division 3, very low in Division 3, and we won it that year, and on in Division 2, and we also went to Division 1 in the league. And the first year he was there, he brought us to an Ulster final. Second year to an Ulster semi-final, and then 97 is history. So, he did a lot more for Cavan football, I believe, than just winning an Ulster Championship. He brought them up in the league. Unfortunately, Cavan dropped back very quickly after that, but that was out of our control and out of the Cavan players' control. The decisions made that time were very, very, very unfair at Central Council level, and Cavan dropped from Division 4 to Division 3.
Martin McHugh is a hard man to please, but it must be a great compliment to you that he holds you to this day in very high esteem, because you did give him the break.
Well, look, we got on well, I suppose. I treated him as a son in a way, you know. So, like, I mean, he had the ability to do the job. The first thing he said to me when I met him, he says, I believe I'm a good manager. And that was enough for me. He had done enough on the football field, and he said he had the ability to be a good team manager, and he was a man of his word. Martin McHugh says something, you believe in him, and that's it, and you stand by him, and that's why we were very friendly, and we're very friendly, thank God, to this day.
And can you reveal tonight, maybe, Brendan, why you went in pursuit of Martin McHugh? You saw obviously something in him.
Well, I suppose when he had won All Ireland for Donegal. He had been manager of the club team for 2 or 3 years when they won the senior championship. And as I said, when I met him, I was told that he was interested, so I went and I met him. And he said he believed that he would be a good manager. And so if he believed himself, that was a start. And as he said himself about footballers, if they don't believe they can win, well, then they'll never be winners. So be him. He believed he was a good manager, and he was a good manager.
George Cartwright, you came in at a time that was, I suppose, a difficult enough time for Cavan football. And was it difficult being a chairman at that particular stage?
No, not really, Owen. It wasn't difficult. It was challenging. The early years of the noughties, as we call them, was a very, very high time in Ulster. I mean, you had the breakthrough of Armagh in 2002, followed quickly by Tyrone winning 3 All-Irelands. So the standard was very high. And Cavan were there or thereabouts most of those years. They were in Ulster final in 2001. They were in Ulster semi-finals, brought Tyrone to a replay. So there were challenging years, but Cavan, I always felt, were just one step away from making the breakthrough in those years.
And is that one step a little further away, or do you feel that it's possibly now maybe coming back that way?
Well, look, it's not going to come back easily. Cavan have a great group of young players, but the next couple of years are the most difficult. And it depends on their application, their situation. Are they in Ireland? Are they abroad? Are they in college? And above all else, are they committed? Because if any of those ingredients don't fall into place, well then they won't achieve. And I think that's the biggest challenge. To make the step from minor and under 21 into senior is not easy. And Cavan young lads have it all to do. But the talent is there, and we all hope that they will.
With the exception of Donegal currently, would it be fair to say that all other counties, including Cavan, are in transition?
Well, I suppose every year, if you look at any team, the personnel on a team, it does usually change quite a bit from one year to the next. And Cavan probably has had too much transition. We've been talking about Cavan in transition for too many years. And it's nobody's fault, because so many players play this year and they're discarded, they move away, they make personal choices, they're not available next year, and a new panel comes together. And so it is hard, unless you're winning, to get continuity, and if you don't have continuity, you won't get success.
We can't let you go without mentioning again the fabulous publication Breffni Abu that you brought out recently, and that has been received with tremendous aplomb.
Thanks, Owen. But look, I've said this at these type of occasions when we're talking about the past too often. It's time we had new heroes to write about. And I think that's what we need, because it's too easy to write about the heroes that are gone. We're too good at that in Cavan. We need new heroes, heroes that we can write about and future generations can write about. And I think that's what all our objectives, and that's what all our objectives at the moment is and should be.
Ladies and gentlemen, George Cartwright, Tom Reilly and Brendan Keaney, give them a nice round of applause.